All right, so let's go ahead and create an action from scratch. And I'm going to create the SendGrid user interview action from scratch. I'm going to go up here and say new action. And then I'm going to imagine that I don't have that SendGrid in this list right here. So I'll go new API. And then SendGrid is one of the ones that we support right here. I selected from the list. And Basedash is updated again. This is the second time this call. We're shipping some updates. Let me just refresh real quick. And so what we do with this template is we basically tell you, you need an authorization with your API key, and you need a content type application is JSON. So that's, we're just pre-populating those two fields because sometimes it's a little bit harder to search the documentation and find out exactly what you need to get this integration running. And rather than clicking connect API, I'm just going to assume that we're familiar with what an API key is. We all know how to go get that. And then we can come back here and just replace this with your own API key. So I'm imagining I've done that. And this is where I would be next. The design of this was meant to emulate a lot with Postman behaviors, very similar to how someone would be familiar with Postman. So we've got the method right here. So get, post, head, delete, patch, put, all that kind of stuff. Here's the API endpoint as defined. And then the path right here is what we want to do. So actually, the best source of documentation for me for this would be another instance of Basedash. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to design, and I'm going to have this open in 2 tabs so that I can do this. All right, so I would call this, I prefix it with UX just so I have it saying hello, the title of the action, and then associated table. So what this means is that we can pre-fill values from any table within your database, but we need to know what table to pre-fill values from. Also, what it does is it makes it so that any view you create off of that table will have this action applied to it. Right now, it's all or nothing. So if I create an action for all users, then every view that's created off of the users table will have it. Okay. So as soon as I say this action, it would be on every view created with the users table, so that it's easy for me to run that. And then here's button text. So I'm going to say send email. The preview of what that looks over here. I'm going to pull the endpoint. So I can't do this without, just going to save it real quick. Oop, accidentally closed it. I'm going to pull this v3 mail and send to here. You can include v3 mail and send with your root URL. Max has some good reasons on why we want to include it here, just in case the action, it works on the v3, but if you want to say SendGrid goes v4, that way we wouldn't break everything. Like let's say there's a beta release on there. I think we're saying advising best practices would be to include stuff that might change as part of the action itself, as a part of the root URL. But either way, yeah, I think it will work just fine. It will work just fine, but this is the way we're advising people to do it for now. There's benefits to both. And then we have a description here. So this sends an email to users saying hello. And start a conversation and build trust or something like that. Okay, so that's the description. So when you run the action, before you run it, you can see the description is up there. It also shows up in the sidebar. Okay, so user inputs. So inputs are the fields that you need to define in order to send the action. But these are meant to be, maybe I can confirm the values in there to make sure the interpolated values are populating, or this is something that I can change. Maybe I want to leave one blank, but these are just the fields that show up over here in the sidebar. I'm going to say to email, I'm going to add one. It's a text type. I'm going to pre-fill a text with user .email. Where is user.email? Okay, actually, because I've obscured it because of this demo, it's not there, but it would be curly user.email. It would be in this list, but I've obscured the data, so I can't actually interpolate it, but trust me, it's there. And then if I want to put helper text, I can put it in there. This is the users. And then I have this right here. So to email, this is user's email. And this is what it looks like, to email subject of the text, and then I'll add a body. And I'll say this is text area. We want to add more types in the future. Something we'll fill that out as we go. Right now, we only support text and text area. I'll just copy in name. Again, that would be in this list right here. So we have these little icons that indicate interpolated values. Right now, you just copy and paste them in there. And again, it's missing because of the obscuring for the demo. User full name. This is Tom. Slash. First wanted. That. And say. So there's hypertext. I don't need it for this one. You can see the body here. And then I'm also going to put in from email. This isn't mandatory, or this isn't actually something you need to put as a field. The inputs are, I'm setting this as an input just in case Max wanted to use this action and say, oh no, this is actually from me, it's not from Tom. We can both benefit from it, but I'm going to say the label is from email, and I'm going to put in and then from name. Okay, so that these are not hard coded based off of user values. They're hard coded based off of, I'm composing the email. It's probably going to come from me, but in the off chance that someone else would want to send it, they're able to update those. Okay, so if you see here, all the predefined headers as we have from the API, and then I can put in a body. And then let me say this real quick. I want to do, oh, wrong one. Send Swag link. So I'm going to do is I'm going to use this one's certified. So I'm going to copy the body from here. And this is something you would get from SendGrid. They tell you what that looks like. So I'm pasting in this body, and they'll say, hey, if you want to send an email, this is what the body should look like. And then here is where we have the interpolated values. So let's see, this is email to email subject. And because this and my other one that I just copied this from are nearly identical, this works, but it would probably look more like this. If you pull it from SendGrid, it would have that. And then what I would do is just take this value right here and say to email, okay, I want that to be, I know that the reference command or the curl is pulling the correct user value now from there. And then if I want to have the content, I say declare the content type, who it's from would be from email right there, and then reply to would be from email. And in the future, we're going to make this look a little bit more prettified. We're going to have this purple color carrying through so that you can see clearly when you've added a dynamic value in there, you can see a lot easier than this giant wall of white text. But again, this is an early version of Actions, so we don't have all that kind of fancy stuff. There you go. And if you want to test the curl command, you can just copy this quickly and then run it in terminal if you want to, or you can do this and then say, I'm going to say to emails Tom.Johnson, Basedash. And because I don't have a record selected, I don't have it here, say, hey, Tom, how's it going, Tom? And then it would send. And it looks like I missed something in the body.
Your API is set to the wrong one.
Oh, yeah. That's true. I did that. Switch it, save, send. Valid address field. Oh, yeah, I didn't because I cleared it. Oh, wrong way. Send. All right, there goes. 202 accepted. And so I just should be getting an email right now. I have my screen shared, but there it is. Let me share that screen. New share. That is straightforward. Obviously not the most advanced use case in the world, but it is one of the more common ones that we have to send emails as transactional emails and all that kind of stuff to build out some of that CRM functionality inside of Basedash, because then no integrations and it's always your exact users. So that's how to create an action start to finish. We have some that are set up, examples of actions we also have set up. We have some that are our internal API. Reset password, we can send it. We can update someone's password from a new value to an old value. And then I think we had some other actions we had created for moving things around, but we haven't had a need for a lot of the internal API stuff yet. But we know, I think there's quite a few users out there who are using actions in specifically for hitting their own API to do migrations or to downgrade roles or to reassign workspaces, reassign billing providers, who's the owner of a workspace or who's the person who's there, who's the admin, all that kind of stuff. Makes it a lot easier and restricts the values.
Yeah, and the cool thing about hooking up to your internal API is that it basically lets you add all of your existing validation into Basedash for editing. And so one concern a lot of people have when they're hooking up straight to their database is that they don't have their API level validation in Basedash. So you could enter technically any sort of string into an email field, for example. It doesn't have to be a valid email at the database level. But if you hook up into your internal API with an action through Basedash, then it's going to use your existing validation rules. And so you might check that emails are valid. You might check that numbers are within a certain range or dates are not in the future and stuff like that. And so you can just hook into all of that existing validation that you've already built out through code in Basedash through your internal API. And you can also just hook into literally any other API. So if you wanted to hook into your CRM, you could do that with an action. You could hook into your payment provider, Stripe. You could hook into email we were showing, or if you have a Shopify store, you could hook into Shopify to make a purchase or create a new product or anything like that. So there's a lot of really cool possibilities you can do with actions.